Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, March 1st, 2021. Today I'm going to recap the weekend's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, as well as Major League Baseball spring training games. And looking ahead to games in each sport, we'll go over the golf tournament from the weekend, as well as the Nascar races, and then my latest news and notes, and my best bet of the day. We're going to start in college basketball. We'll touch on every result from the weekend, beginning with Friday. So, without further ado, here we go. North Florida over Stetson 79-74. St. Peter's over Riders 66-52. Cincinnati over Tulane 91-71. Central Connecticut State over Wagner 83-77. Bryan over LIU 63-60. Merrimack over St. Francis Brooklyn 75-67. Drexel over James Madison 84-78. Siena over Manhattan 74-69. Texas State over UL Monroe 58-49. UC Davis over Cal Poly 69-61. Florida Gulf Coast loses at Kent State 80-63. St. Bonaventure over George Washington 88-41. Omaha over Denver 80-76. App State over Georgia Southern 84-78 in double overtime. Purdue over Penn State 73-52. Drake over Bradley 80-71. Missouri State over Evansville 90-81. Indiana State over Valparaiso 58-43. Sacred Heart over Fairleigh Dickinson 70-64. St. Louis over Richmond 72-67. Texas Arlington over Arkansas State 73-71. Coastal Carolina over Troy 75-59. North Texas over Marshall 77-65. Old Dominion over Middle Tennessee 67-61. UAB over UTSA 64-57. Bowling Green over Akron 83-71. UC Irvine over UC San Diego 80-55. Southern Utah over Northern Arizona 92-62. Idaho over Montana State 74-69. Louisiana over Little Rock 66-61. Louisiana Tech over Rice 101-57. FAU over Southern Miss 69-60. Utah Valley over Texas Rio Grande 78-74. New Mexico State over Tarleton 78-51. South Dakota State over UMKC 67-49. Loyola Chicago over Southern Illinois 60-52. Number 21, Loyola Chicago, I should say. Northern Iowa over Illinois State 70-56. Utah State over Nevada 75-72. Georgia State over South Alabama 84-81. Seattle over Grand Canyon 63-57. Cal State Bakersfield over Cal State Northridge 84-58. UNLV over Fresno 68-67. Santa Barbara over Riverside 72-68. And Hawaii over Long Beach State 78-76. Saturday, number 3 Michigan over Indiana 73-57. Number 18 Texas Tech over number 14 Texas 68-59. Auburn over number 24 Tennessee 77-72. Navy over Loyola Maryland 73-67. Georgetown over DePaul 68-60. Georgia Tech over Syracuse 84-77. Liberty over Bellarmine 94-78. America East playoffs first round. UMass Lowell over Stony Brook 64-62. South Carolina over Georgia 91-70. Western Carolina over Mercer 85-61. Ball State over Central Michigan 97-91. Eastern Michigan over Northern Illinois 91-57. Montana over Idaho State 59-58. Number 5 Illinois over number 23 Wisconsin 74-69. Number 20 Arkansas over LSU 83-75. Stetson over North Florida 85-68. America East playoff Hartford over Binghamton 77-60. Big South first round Hampton over Presbyterian 65-67. American over Bucknell 78-71. SC State over Florida A&M 63-57. Arizona over Washington 75-74. VCU over Davidson, or other way around, Davidson over VCU 65-57. Clemson over Miami 66-58. Boston College over Notre Dame 94-90. Louisiana Tech over Rice 79-58. Marshall over North Texas 73-72. Buffalo over Ohio 86-66. Portland State over Northern Colorado 73-65. Weber State over Sacramento State 72-70. UConn over Marquette 80-62. Oklahoma State over number 7 Oklahoma 94-90 in overtime. BU over Army 75-63. North Alabama over Lipscomb 73-66. Georgia Southern over App State 65-57. Vandy upsets Ole Miss 75-70. Number 10 West Virginia over Kansas State 65-43. North Carolina upsets number 11 Florida State 78-70. Number 16 Virginia Tech over Wake 84-46. Number 22, San Diego State over Boise State, 62-58. Cal Baptist over Vanguard, 78-65. Big South first round High Point over SC Upstate, 65-60. Lafayette over Lehigh, 75-69. Oregon over Cal, 74-63. Colorado State over Air Force, 72-49. Northwestern over Southeast Louisiana, 79-61. Florida over Kentucky, 71-67. Morehead State over Belmont, 89-82 in overtime. UTSA over UAB, 96-79. Pepperdine over San Diego, 90-84. Greensboro over East Tennessee State, 85-74 in overtime. George Mason over LaSalle, 89-54. South Dakota over North Dakota State, 80-71. Kent State over Miami of Ohio, 64-51. Xavier upsets number 13 Creighton, 77-69. America East playoffs first round, Albany over NJIT, 76-66. Oral Roberts over Western Illinois, 85-81. Tennessee Martin over Eastern Illinois, 73-68. Jacksonville State over Austin Peay, 75-67. Coastal over Troy, 76-71. Texas Arlington over Arkansas State, 64-56. Little Rock over Louisiana, 69-59. Texas State over UL Monroe, 61-57. FAU over Southern Miss, 73-66. Toledo over Western Michigan, 91-44. UC Davis over Cal Poly, 68-66 in overtime. Lamar over Stephen F. Austin, 88-83 in double overtime. Southern over Alcorn State, 89-75. Texas Southern over Alabama State, 86-76. Prairie View over Alabama A&M, 55-54. Number 6, Alabama over Mississippi State, 64-59. Number 21, Loyola Chicago over Southern Illinois, 65-58 in overtime. Alon over UNC Wilmington, 80-77. Northern Iowa over Illinois State, 90-47 in double overtime. Valpo over Indiana State, 70-58. Louisville over Duke, 80-73 in overtime. Omaha over Duke, 80-76. Southeast Missouri State over SIU Evansville, 69-63. Central Arkansas over Abilene Christian, 84-82. UTEP over Charlotte, 70-47. TCU over Iowa State, 76-72. Oregon State over Stanford, 73-62. Siena over Manhattan, 64-56. Duquesne over Rhode Island, 86-75. Nebraska over Minnesota, 78-74. Evansville over Missouri State, 72-63. Bradley over Drake, 67-61. Nichols over New Orleans, 105-101 in overtime. Eastern Kentucky over Tennessee State, 89-84. Georgia State over South Alabama, 82-73. Old Dominion over Middle Tennessee, 73-60. Wofford over Furman, 74-73. Irvine over San Diego, 75-64. Number 17, Kansas defeats number 2, Baylor, 71-58. They had Baylor their first loss. Utah over number 19, USC, 71-61. Rider over St. Peter's, 78-65. Coppin State over Delaware State, 81-68. NC over NC Central, 55-53. Utah Valley over Texas Rio Grande, 73-64. Tarleton over New Mexico State, 64-55. McNeese over Houston Baptist, 85-58. South Dakota State over UMKC, 89-77. Jackson State over Mississippi Valley State, 68-54. Arizona State over Washington State, 77-74 in overtime. Tennessee Tech over Murray State, 71-61. Grand Canyon over Seattle, 81-71. Number 1, Gonzaga over Loyola Marymount, 86-69. BYU over St. Mary's, 65-51. Pacific over San Francisco, 76-69. Colorado over UCLA, 70-61. Riverside over Santa Barbara, 68-52. Hawaii over Long Beach State, 79-76. And Northridge over Bakersfield, 90-87. Yesterday's results. Butler upsets number 8 Villanova, 73-61. America East playoff quarterfinal. UMass Lowell defeats New Hampshire, 72-64. Memphis over Cincinnati, 80-74. Norfolk State over St. Mary's, Maryland, 72-51. Florida A&M over South Carolina State, 63-58. Maryland over Michigan State, 73-55. America East playoff quarterfinal. Hartford over Albany, 83-77. Army over BU, 57-55. UTEP over Charlotte, 77-62. Western Kentucky over Florida International, 91-58. Montana State over Idaho, 71-61. Number 9, Iowa over number 4, Ohio State, 73-57. Number 12, Houston over South Florida, 98-52. Navy over Loyola Maryland, 66-58. American over Bucknell, 81-68. Marist over Quinnipiac, 76-67. NC State over Pitt, 62-65. North Dakota State over South Dakota, 89-77. Coppin over Delaware, 94-74. Or I should say Delaware State. And Coppin State, obviously. Oral Roberts over Western Illinois, 95-59. Lehigh loses by 1 to Lafayette, 71-70. And Utah State over Nevada, 87-66. All right, looking ahead to today's games at 1 o'clock, you have FIU and Western Kentucky. I did totals for most of these, but not all of these. Western Kentucky I projected by a whopping 20, total 147. And FanDuel has this at 17 and 148. So I'm going to lay to 17 with Western Kentucky at minus 116. 3 o'clock, Washington State and Arizona State. I have Arizona State by 8.5, total 144.5. Maybe it's 4.5, 144.5. I'm laying the 4.5 with Arizona State. 4 o'clock, Stephen F. Austin and Central Arkansas. I have Stephen F. Austin by 14.5, total 152.5. Meanwhile, it's 11 and 156. I am going to take the under 156 and minus 116. I don't feel good about it, though. 5 o'clock, Davidson and St. Bonaventure on ESPNU. I'm at Bonaventure 4.5, total 135. Meanwhile, it's Bonaventure 7.5, total 132.5. I'm going to take Dayton plus a 7.5 at minus 116. 6 o'clock, ACC Network, Miami at number 15, Virginia. I'm at Virginia 16, total 133.5. Meanwhile, it's Virginia 14.5, total 124.5. Oh my God, over's a lock. Oh my God. That is way too low. Like, Virginia's a little bit better offensively than that. And Miami's not so good defensively. They're okay, but not great. But give me over 124.5. That's a no-brainer. Oh my God. Quinnipiac, Marist, I'm at Marist 1.5, total 133.5. Meanwhile, it's Marist 3.5, total 133.5. I'm taking Quinnipiac plus the 3.5. UMass St. Louis, I'm at St. Louis 4, total 145. Meanwhile, it's 10.5, 145. I'm taking UMass plus to 10.5 at plus or minus 116. Big South quarterfinal, Hampton, Radford. I'm at Radford 6.5, total 137.5. Meanwhile, it's Radford 8, total 136.5. I don't feel good about potentially betting this because I'm less than 2 points off on each side or the total. But if I'm forced to pick, I'm taking Hampton plus the 8 at minus 106. High Point, Winthrop, quarterfinal, 7 o'clock, Big South. I am at Campbell 4, total 138.5. Mills Gardner Webb 2.5, total 134.5. I'm going to go with Campbell plus the 2.5 and whatever the money line is. The wrong team's favored here. I would also take a stab at the over if necessary. High Point, Winthrop, Big South quarterfinal. I skipped this one by mistake. Winthrop 21.5, total 142, and this is a 6 o'clock game. And I am at FanDuel 13.5, total 141.5. I'm laying it with Winthrop. No doubt about it. Back to 7 o'clock, Big South quarterfinal. Longwood and UNC Asheville. I'm at Asheville 9, total 140. Meanwhile, 3.5, 136. I'm laying the 3.5 with Asheville. Big Ten Network, Rutgers, Nebraska. I am at Rutgers by 13.5. I'm sorry I did not do a total for this game, and it's 7.5. I'm going to lay to 7.5 with Rutgers. That's crazy that they're that low of a favorite against Nebraska, although Nebraska, I get it's been more competitive of late. But I'm going to lay it with the Scarlet Knights. 7 o'clock ESPN tonight, North Carolina, Syracuse. I'm at UNC 4.5, total 146. Meanwhile, it is UNC 2, total 149.5. I am going to take the under. I don't feel good about it, but that's the side I have the bigger edge on between UNC and the under. So I'm going to go under 149.5. Next up, Sam Houston State at Houston Baptist at 8 o'clock. I'm at I am at Sam Houston State by 17.5, and it's 10. And I did not do a total for this one. Again, I didn't have time to do every total. But, yeah, I'm going to lay the 10 with Sam Houston State for sure. A&M Corpus Christi at Lamar. I am at Lamar by 4, and it's 6. I'm taking A&M Corpus Christi in the points. New Orleans and Incarnate Word. I'm at New Orleans by 3, and it's 2.5. Total's 140. I'm going to take the over. And that game's at 8:15. 8:30, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Jackson State. I have Jackson State 17.5, and it is 8.5. I'm going to lay 8.5 at minus 116. Grambling, Mississippi Valley State. I'm at Grambling 16.5, and it's 17.5. Total's 139. I'm taking the over at minus 119 or 160. My bad. Texas Southern, Alabama A&M. I'm at Texas Southern by 9.5, and it is 7.5. I'm going to lay to 7.5 with Texas Southern. 9 o'clock ESPN rematch from the other day. Number 7, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. I am at a pick'em, and it is Oklahoma by 1.5. Total is 142.5. I'm taking the over. Oh, I love the over here. Got the value there at minus 106 as well. Then you got Prairie View and Alabama State. My line for this is Prairie View by 15, and it is 12.5. I'm going to lay the 12.5 with Prairie View. ESPN2, Arizona, Oregon. That's a good game. I'm at Oregon 5, and it's 4.5. Total 139.5. I'm taking the over easily. And at 10 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, Air Force and Colorado State. I'm at Colorado State 19.5, and it's 18.5. Total is 131.5. I'm taking the over at minus 116. Now move on to the NBA from the weekend, as we will go over the results and look ahead to what is a nice window for tonight. Friday night, Celtics over the Pacers 118-112. Raptors over the Rockets 122-111. Kings over the Pistons 110-107. Heat over the Jazz 124-116. Suns over the Bulls 106-97. Clippers over the Grizzlies 119-99. Thunder over the Hawks 118-109. Warriors over the Hornets 130-121. And Lakers over the Blazers 102-93. Saturday night, Cavaliers over the Sixers 112-109 in overtime. Wizards over the Timberwolves 128-112. Knicks over the Pacers 110-107. Spurs over the Pelicans 117-114. Jazz over the Magic 124-109. Nuggets over the Thunder 126-96. Mavericks over the Nets 115-98. Sunday, Bucks over the Clippers 105-100. Celtics over the Wizards 111-110. Heat over the Hawks 109-99. Grizzlies over the Rockets 133-84. Knicks over the Pistons 109-90. Lakers over the Warriors 117-91. Suns over the Timberwolves 118-99. Hornets over the Kings 127-126. Bulls Raptors was postponed because the Raptors are dealing with some COVID stuff right now. Tonight's window, 7 o'clock, you have the Mavericks at the Magic. I'm at Mavericks 10.5, total 221. And that line is assuming that Kristaps Porzingis will play. And it's 6-221. I'm going to lay the 6 with Dallas, minus 114. Without Porzingis, this goes down to 7.5. Or my projection would go down to 7.5. And then you get more value on Dallas potentially without KP. But I'm going to lay the 6 with Dallas at minus 114 for the show today. Pacers, Sixers. I'm at Sixers 12, total 224.5. We all had Sixers 5, total 224. That's way too low. I'm laying it with the Sixers. I'm going to double check. That line tells me that they don't think Joel Embiid's playing. But if Embiid doesn't play, my line goes to 8. And even that, I'm laying the points. And then Ben Simmons looks like he's going to go too. So even without both players, that obviously goes down to 4. And then I value a little tiny value on the Pacers. But I'm going to lay the 5 with the Sixers at minus 106. 8 o'clock, Nuggets Bulls. I'm at Denver 13, total 238. Meanwhile, it's Denver 5, total 226. I'm laying the 5 with Denver. I feel better about that than the over because the over is at a juice number right now. No Zach LaVine and no Mallory Markkinen for the Bulls. So I'm laying the 5 with Denver. Jazz Pelicans on NBA TV. I'm at Jazz 15 total 227. Well, it's 7, 236.5. I'm going to lay the 7 with Utah. 8:30 Nets Spurs. I'm at Brooklyn 5 total 229.5. It's 5.5 total 235. I'm taking the under. They're overinflating every Nets total. Kevin Durant's still out, so I'm taking the under 235. 9 o'clock Cavs Rockets. I'm at Cavs 1 total 219. Meanwhile, it's Rockets 2.5 total 217. I'm taking the Cavs plus 2.5 and plus 122 straight up. Looks like Christian Wood is not back yet, so I'm taking the Cavs. 10:30 NBA TV. Hornets Blazers, a sneaky good game. I'm at Portland 2 total 227.5. Meanwhile, it's Portland 6.5 total 234. This is hard. Charlotte or under. I think Gordon Hayward might be out for this game. And he's obviously worth a lot of points. And for that reason, I'm going to go under 234. And I have more value on the over than I do with Charlotte. So I'm going to take under 234 between Charlotte and Portland. And I like that under even if Gordon Hayward does not play. Now move on to the NHL from the weekend. We will go over the results starting with Friday night, and then we'll look ahead to the window for today. Friday night, Rangers over the Bruins 6-2. Wild over the Kings 3-1. Avs over the Coyotes 3-2. Saturday, Flyers over the Devils 3-0. Caps over the Devils 5-2. Flames over the Sens 6-3. Preds over the Blue Jackets 2-1. Pens over the Islanders 4-3. In overtime on a game winner by Chris Letang. Lightning over the Stars 5-0. Hurricanes over the Panthers 4-3 in a shootout. Maple Leafs over the Oilers 4-0. Red Wings over the Blackhawks 5-3. Wild over the Kings 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Matt Domba. Avs over the Coyotes 6-2. Jets over the Canadiens 2-1 on an overtime winner by Paul Stastny. Golden Knights over the Ducks 3-2 on an overtime winner by William Karlsson. Blues over the Sharks 7-2. Yesterday's results: Bruins over the Rangers 4-1. Flyers over the Sabres 3-0. Preds over the Blue Jackets 3-1. Caps over the Devils 3-2. Islanders over the Pens 2-0. Blackhawks over the Red Wings 7-2. 7 games tonight, so a nice window for hockey tonight. At 7 o'clock tonight, you have the Hurricanes and the Panthers. Hurricanes are minus 126. The Panthers are plus 108. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 130. Panthers plus 1.5 is minus 265. Carolina minus 1.5 is plus 215. This is a hard call, but how are the Panthers a home underdog with more points? That's a rarity. I'm taking the Panthers plus 108 straight up. Flames centered. The Flames are minus 168. Ottawa's plus 140. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 140. Unders plus 112. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 164. Ottawa plus 1.5 is minus 200. I'm going to take under 5.5 at plus 112. That's super, super value. Let's bank on Matt Murray playing well. And whether it's David Rittich or Jacob Markstrom in net for Calgary playing well as well. 8 o'clock Canucks Jets. The Jets are minus 142. The Canucks are plus 120. Over under 6.5. Over is minus 106. Under is minus 114. Canucks plus 1.5 is minus 240. Jets minus 1.5 is plus 195. I'm going to go value here and take the over. Vancouver just has not played well. I mean, their goaltending hasn't been great. Hellebuck's been shady. I like Winnipeg's offense. So give me over 6.5 at minus 104. I'm banking on this being the 4-3 type of game. 10 o'clock, Maple Leafs Oilers. I'm at Maple Leafs minus 118. Oilers even money. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 122. Under is even money. Maple Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 225. Oilers plus 1.5 is minus 280. I'm going to go Oilers even money at home. Just a gut feeling I have here with the Oilers. They have the best player on the ice in Connor McDavid, so I'm taking Oilers even money. Wild Golden Knights. Golden Knights minus 156. The Wild are plus 132. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 108. Unders minus 112. Wild plus 1.5 is minus 225. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 184. I'm going to go under at a slightly juiced minus 112. Both these teams are playing well on the defensive side and the net, so I'm going to go under 5.5. Blues Ducks. The Blues are minus 142. The Ducks are plus 124. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 115. Blues minus 1.5 is plus 195. Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 240. I'm going to go with the value over at minus 104. The Blues offense is rolling. The Ducks, I think, can put up maybe 3. So give me over 5.5 at minus 104. And last but not least, 10:30 Avs Sharks. The Avs are minus 235. The Sharks are plus 194. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 130. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 116. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 140. I'm undecided between two of these, and the one I'm going to go with is the over. San Jose is lighting up the scoreboard, and so is Colorado, so give me over 6.5 at plus 106. Now we'll move on to Major League Baseball spring training. I'm going to go over some of the results from yesterday. Blue Jays over the Yankees 6-4-7. Rays over the Braves 9-7-7. Twins over the Red Sox 76-7. Marlins over the Astros 6-1-7. Tigers over the Phillies 10-2-7. Pirates over the Orioles 6-4-8. Nats and Cardinals ended in a 4-4 tie. Angels over the Giants 5-2-7. Indians over the Reds 5-1-8. Dodgers over the A's 2-1-7. Brewers over the White Sox 7-2-6. Royals over the Rangers 3-2-6. Rockies over the Diamondbacks 5-2-8. And Mariners over the Padres 5-4. Today's spring training games 1 o'clock. Tigers, Yankees, Braves, Red Sox, Orioles, Phillies, Astros, Nats, Twins, Rays, Mets, Marlins, Pirates, Blue Jays. 3 o'clock. Reds, Athletics, Dodgers hosting the Rockies, Royals, Indians, Giants, Rangers, White Sox, Angels, Cubs, Padres, and Brewers, Diamondbacks. Now we'll go over the golf from the weekend, which was a very interesting tournament. And your winner from the Workday Championship, Colin Morikawa, 18 under. Tied for second with 15 under. Brooks Koepka, Brett Horschel, and Victor Hovland. So my pick of Brooks Koepka turned out to be pretty good. Fifth place at 14 under, Scotty Scheffler. Tied for 6th with 12 under, Rory McIlroy, Webb Simpson, and Louis Oldson. Tied for 9th with 11 under, Jason Kokrak and Patrick Reed. Tied for 11th with 10 under, Cam Smith, Kevin Na, and Matthew Fitzpatrick. 14th, Tony Finau, 9 under. Tied for 15th with 8 under, Justin Thomas and Carlos Ortiz. And Hideki Matsuyama, too. Tied for 18th with 7 under, Brendan Todd, Jason Day, Abraham Ancer, and Aaron Ray. Tied for 22nd with 6 under, Sebastian Munoz, Lucas Griffin, Bryson DeChambeau, Will Zalatoris, Tyrell Hatton, and Max Homa. Tied for 28th with 5 under, Sungjae Im, Joaquin Niemann, Thomas Datry, and Minwoo Lee. Tied for 32nd with 4 under, Christian Besenhout. You got Sergio Garcia and John Rahm in there as well. Tied for 35th with 3 under, Daniel Berger and Sean Kim. Tied for 37th with 2 under, Eric Van Rooyen and Trevor Simsby. Tied for 39th with 1 under, Sander Schauffele and Mark Leishman. Tied for 41st with even Kevin Kisner and Jason Scrivener. Rest of the Nobles, 43rd, Gary Woodland in 1 over. Tied for 44th with 2 over Mackenzie Hughes and Tommy Fleetwood, among others. In the 48th place tie with 3 over, Shane Lowry, camp champ. In the 54th place tie with 5 over, Dustin Johnson and Justin Rose, as well as Bubba Watson and Ricky Palmer. Tied for 59th with 7 over, Rafael Cabrera Belo and Bernd Weisberger. Tied for 61st with 8 over, Lee Westwood was in there. 10 over, 66th place, Harry English. And there you have it for golf results from the Workday Championship. Now we will do NASCAR from the weekend as we will go over those results. We'll start with the Xfinity, and your winner for the Xfinity race, Matt Snyder, winning it at Homestead, Miami. Good for Matt Snyder. Been rooting for that guy to come through. Second place, Brandon Jones. Third, Daniel Hemrick. Fourth, Jeb Burton. Fifth, Austin Cindric. Sixth, Justin Haley. Seventh, Brett Moffitt. Eighth, Ryan Sieg. Ninth, Jeremy Clements. 10th, Josh Berry. The rest of the results, Riley Herbst, J.J. Yealy, Michael Annette, A.J. Allmendinger, Alex Labb, Timmy Hill, Dexter Bean, Tommy Joe Martins, Landon Castle, Jade Buford, David Starr, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Chad Fincham, Ryan Vargas, Kyle Weatherman, Josh Williams, Joe Graff Jr., Gary Galding, Matt Mills, Santonio Ferrucci, Stephon Parsons, Jesse Little, Noah Gragson, Brandon Brown, Bailey Curry, Colby Howard, Ty Dillon, Justin Allgaier, Harrison Burton, and the disqualified Tyler Riddick. And now over to the Cup Series. Your winner for the Cup Series at Homestead, Miami, William Byron. Second place, Tyler Riddick. Third, Martin Truex Jr. Fourth, Kyle Larson. That's his best finish since his comeback. Fifth, Kevin Harvick. Sixth, Michael McDowell. Maybe he's the breakout driver of the year. Seventh, Ryan Newman. Eighth, Kurt Busch. Ninth, Alex Bowman. Ninth, Kyle Busch. 11th, Danny Hamlin. 12th, Austin Dillon. 13th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 14th, Chase Elliott. 15th, Daniel Suarez. 16th, my pick of Brad Keselowski. 7th, Ross Chaston. 18th, Chase Briscoe. 19th, Chris Buescher. 20th, Chris Bell. The rest of the results, Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace, Cole Custer, Anthony Alfredo, Joey Logano, Justin Haley, Eric Jones, Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, Garrett Smithley, Cody Ware, Josh Bilicki, BJ McLeod, Quinn Houff, Corey LaJoie, James Davison, and Timmy Hill. All right, now the latest news and notes. A lot of Russell Wilson chatter. We talked about it on the show the other day, how Dallas, Las Vegas, Chicago, and New Orleans are his preferred destinations if he were to request a trade. As I said on the show, if something normally gets leaked out in terms of trades, then you're normally either on the block or you want out. I know Russell Wilson's camp keeps denying that he wants out, but you never know with this kind of stuff. At gunpoint, I do think he'll remain a member of the Seattle Seahawks, but I wouldn't rule out Russell Wilson being on another team. And obviously, if Seattle trades him, they automatically become the worst team in the NFC, and along with Houston as the worst team in the NFL, assuming that Houston trades Deshaun Watson. Josina Anderson is talking on Twitter just now about cap. Sources from 2 teams this weekend and morning who've told me that they're still waiting on the final cap number. It can mean the difference between 1 or 2 more guys, one source said. I think it may take a little bit longer for decisions, maybe more patient before pulling trigger, another source said. So that's significant in terms of teams that want to make trades or teams that are willing to trade guys or teams that are willing to sign guys. So it's very interesting to note. J.J. Watt's still on the market. The Bills look like a front runner for him. The Packers as well. I think the Seahawks should be in play for him. But why, to me, does this scream silver and black? I really think that J.J. Watt could very well be a silver and black. Like, doesn't he scream Raider? I think he screams Raider. I think he's going to be on the Raiders. That's my prediction at the moment for J.J. Watt. And then obviously Deshaun Watson had the meeting with his coach. He still wants out. That comes to no surprise to anyone. We talked about in the NBA segment that the Raptors had to postpone their game against the Bulls because of contact tracing. So it's going to be interesting to see how long their absence will be. Their next scheduled game is tomorrow against the Pistons. We'll see if that gets postponed or not. So, yeah, there's not really much news and notes today, but I just wanted to hit on the NFL stuff and the Raptors COVID situation in our news and notes segment. Last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I hinted at it earlier. The number is ridiculously low at 124.5. And yes, my friends, I'm talking about the over in Virginia, Miami. I bet on a Virginia over earlier in the year for a best bet, and it worked out. So I'm going to pull the trigger again and go over 124.5 in Virginia and Miami for my best bet of the day. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody. I'll be back tonight, actually, with a couple tournament podcast predictions show. I'm going to do OVC, Patriot League, and there's one more that I'm going to do tonight. Let me think of it. OVC, Patriot League, and A10. The A10's a big one, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll do those 3 podcasts tonight, and I'm going to do a lot of them throughout the week. And then obviously on tomorrow's show, we'll recap today's NBA, college basketball, and NHL and spring training, and looking ahead to tomorrow in each sport and the latest news I'll have for you as well. And I'm going to do a mock bracket for tomorrow's show as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.